Yes, everybody, how's it going? And welcome to the Mighty Blues YouTube channel. I will be your host today, Jebbo, as Cameron is unable to be here to preview with what is the game of Manchester City versus Everton at the Etihad Stadium. Now, before we do get into this, if you guys don't know who I am Jebbo37, as some of you guys may know me as. I do matchday vlogs for Everton on YouTube, and yeah, in all honesty, I do a couple of TikTok clips here and there as well of just a couple of the goals and stuff like that, really. So yeah, you want to feel free, make sure you go check that out, and hopefully it's in the link down in the description down below anyway. But yeah, Manchester City versus Everton is the fixture today. Now, it's a massive fixture for both teams because in reality, you look at it, Manchester City beat us, and the top of the league come 3 o'clock. So, you know, and then obviously you've got us that are looking to escape the relegation zone. So it is a massive game for both teams in terms of the magnitude of the game, especially a half-12 kickoff as well, early kickoff, which none of us like to see. But, you know, it's one of them, and obviously it happens. But yeah, you look at obviously going back to the game at Goodison where City beat us 3-1, which the first half from us was absolutely unbelievable. And then all of a sudden we changed the system and things just go wrong and controversial in terms of what's happened to us. But enough to dwell on that, really. You look at, obviously, the last time we played Manchester City at the Etihad, where it finished 1-1, Damari Gray getting that goal, which the equalising goal was absolutely unbelievable as well to look at that. But yeah, Sean Dyche not being in the dugout, which could possibly kill us as a whole, to be honest. And you do have to look at that as a massive factor because obviously he's got his third yellow card, which means that he's not in the dugout for the game between Man City and Everton. So that's a massive, massive thing. So yeah, you go back and looking into the team news and, you know, who's available for selection, who isn't. And then obviously you look at it and go, you know, Andre Gomez is not available, Danjuma's not available, Decore's not available, Dele Alli's not available. But I mean, Dele Alli's just noted for not being available all the time. Whereas you have Amadou Onana, who is in contention for selection, which in reality, it's a massive factor for Everton because in some of the games, I don't rate him personally, and anyone who knows me knows that I will say about Amadou Onana that he's 6'5" and he can't win a header. And, you know, you look at things like that in the greatest respect of things. Like, if someone was to knock on the door tomorrow and go, we'll give you 60 million quid for Amadou Onana, I'd be like, yes, son, see you later, mate. But listen, that's just me, and I think in the terms of things, Amadou Onana at this current time and moment, whether you rate him or not, he's probably better suited in the squad. Now, that's because A, we've got the points deduction, which is being appealed and stuff like that. B, we don't have money to buy anyone, so in reality, you get what you're given and you've got to put up with that into some capacity. I mean, you know, some players are probably not the best in comparison, but yeah, you've got to be putting up with what you're given, unlike in Manchester City's, who have got like Kevin De Bruyne, Julian Alvarez, you know, Rodri, John Stones, you know, the list goes on, honestly. Like, the Man City team is unbelievable in terms of the squad depth, the quality, everything like that. But then, yeah, the man to watch today for me, in all honesty, would be Kevin De Bruyne. I just think that since he's been back from injury, he's been absolutely phenomenal for Manchester City. But that's just me as a whole. But yeah, we will be moving on into the head-to-head stats, which see Manchester City win 80% of the last 30 meetings with 18 wins, Everton winning 6 and there being 6 draws. So take that as you want. It's a massive, massive factor in terms of head-to-head in the previous 30 meetings between Manchester City and Everton. And obviously the last meeting between us both finished in Man City winning 3-1. So, you know, for me, I would say about the game is I could see us starting a 5 at the back, but whether that's going to happen or not is completely down to Sean Dyche. I just look at it and go, when we face these bigger teams, you know, we go more assertive and we do go 5 at the back and things like that, which away from home, it's not something you want to see. But I think at that point, when you look at it on damage limitation, I think that's the word I'm looking for in terms of goals conceded and things like that, especially in the position that we're in this relegation fight. But, you know, it's one of them. We'll probably see a couple of decisions not go our way, should I say. But listen, this is football. And we won't get a penalty, that's for sure, and we won't get decisions going our way. And if we do, it's going to be some type of miracle, in all honesty. And that's something that we all know and we all expect to some capacity. But yeah, I mean, for me, going into this game, my heart would want Everton. I would take a draw. My heart would take a draw for this game, but I would go for... My heart would want a draw or an Everton win, obviously. But my head's going to say Everton 0, Manchester City 3. I just think the system that we play, currently at the moment, it doesn't suit Calvert-Lewin or Beto being up front on their own. And when you've got that against the likes of John Stones, Ruben Dias, you know, and players like that, it does show the quality. And I think tomorrow, personally, the Calvert-Lewin, if he's up front on his own, will be proper isolated. I genuinely do think he will be isolated up front on his own tomorrow. And I think the purpose of Calvert-Lewin being up front on his own tomorrow, if he is to knock the ball down, get it to the wingers, and let them do their stuff. But it's one of them, and it's a massive, massive game for us both, as I said. And it's more important for us than it is for them. And I say this as a massive one because, in reality, you look at it, for us, we need to get as many points on the board as possible. I know City are challenging for the league, and you're probably going to go, well, Jebbo, you're sounding like a bit of a divvy here, I can't lie, but it's not that. If you look at it, if Manchester City were to get beat against us tomorrow or draw, the fact that a City is, they'll go and smash someone 5-0 next week. Whereas us, you don't know that with us. We just don't know what's going to happen with Everton Football Club. And in terms of the results, the games, the team selections, everything like that with us, we don't know what it's going to be. Because at the end of the day, we could go 1 week 5 at the back. The next week we can go 4 at the back. But we do suit better the 4 at the back. So would I love to see us play a 4 at the back tomorrow and just try and run at them? Of course I would. But for me, if you look back to the game at Goodison, what City done well, and I've analysed this really well, by the way, I think anyway, is the City, when they, in the second half especially, the way they changed it up was, they got the wingers to hug the touchline, basically. So they had this proper wide spread out, which obviously meant they could get the ball out wide a lot quicker, move it forward, you know what I mean? The transition of Manchester City was incomparable in the second half in comparison to the first half of that game at Goodison. But then obviously, going back to that game, you know, we speak about the Jordan Pickford mistake, which I don't really want to talk about. But as long as he doesn't let his head down tomorrow, I think he's going to be fine. You know, you look at it, Manchester City have kept 5 clean sheets, we've kept 8. So we do have a clean sheet in us. And it's about keeping that up tomorrow. Because even going back to that Spurs game, if you want to go back to that as well, I think we deserved the point at least. And if not, it would have been a win. Because for me, they, you know, apart from the first half where there was a couple of errors with Jordan Pickford taking that extra foot every time, the extra touch every time he had the ball, you know, which did put us on our feet practically. Apart from that, we were solid. And you know, and obviously the goals that Richarlison scored as well. But listen, it's one of them. Tomorrow is a massive, massive game. And yeah, for me, City, obviously, they're completely available in terms of selection. Whereas us, obviously, you know, mentioned previously with Gomez, Danjuma, Doucouré, Dele Alli. So, you know, it puts into the perspective of the resources that we've got versus the resources that obviously Manchester City have got. Now, predicted lineup for tomorrow, I'm going to personally go, I'm going to go with a 4 at the back. My brain is telling me, though, that we might go 5 at the back just because Sean Dyche isn't there. So I'm going to go in goal, Jordan Pickford. Right back, Seamus Coleman. Centre-halves of Jared Branthwaite and James Tarkowski. Left back, Mikalenko. I'm going to go Harrison on the right with Garner. That's James Garner. Amadou Onana and Garner Gay. And then, obviously, Dwight McNeil. So that produced a midfield 5. And then, obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Now, that could be proven wrong. I've seen some people on Twitter say, go 4-4-2. Personally, I would not like to see Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front together ever again. And I wouldn't like to see that 4-4-2 in... I think the only time I'd ever like to see a 4-4-2 is if you've got like a Danjuma or a Dobbin up front with Calvert-Lewin. And at that point, I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. That's the only time I wouldn't mind, because obviously you've got the target man who can win the headers and flick it on. And then obviously that goes between the little man who just runs and does the whole of running, to be honest. But yeah, massive game tomorrow. I'm quite nervous for it, but I'd love us to prove, obviously, Manchester City wrong and obviously potentially get the 3 points. If not, a draw. But if you have enjoyed this preview, make sure you smash a thumbs up on the channel. And yeah, if you are new as well, make sure you subscribe to the Mighty Blues YouTube channel. I am once again Jebbo, so make sure you go and check out my channel as well. And until next time, enjoy the game, and I'll pass you back on to Cameron tomorrow.